Shalom, shalom, shalom. Want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to the Most High God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This your brothers from the Hopeful Elect coming at you with a Freestyle Friday. Normally, we don't get on Fridays as much as we used to, but since we didn't do Wisdom Wednesday or Think About It Thursday, decided to get on today so that way, we can continue to commit to our 2 video a week. I guess you could say 2 video a week, commitment, right? But through the spirit, we on here tonight. Salakia, I know we getting on a little late, getting into them scary hours, but Most High willing, what we'll bring forth will be edifying for someone. Do I have an echo?
I don't hear one.
Okay, Con. But yeah, Most High willing, man, the information that we bring forth will be edifying for someone. But tonight's topic, man, is just talking about pray the right prayers, praying the right prayers. Because a lot of times in life, we may pray, but we pray and we ask amiss. And we'll go into it, but let's bring our first precept up on the screen. And if a brother could read this, it's the book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. So let's start here.
The book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. John, chapter 9 and verse 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, him he heareth.
It says, him he heareth, those who worship the Most High God and doeth his will, right? Now, if you can, go to the book of John, stay in the same book, but go to chapter 4 and verse number 24. Right? I want to establish, how do you worship, or how are you supposed to worship the Most High God, right? Let's read this.
The book of John, chapter 4 and verse 24. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
So if you're a worshiper, right, you're going to worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. And those are the ones whom the Most High will hear when they have prayers, right? Now, again, this lesson is titled Pray the Right Prayers. The right prayers. Emphasis on the right prayers. Sometimes, we get caught up in life praying just to pray. And we pray for things that, aren't necessarily expedient for us, right? But let's hear the words of the Lord. Let's go to the book of James chapter 4, and let's start at verse 1. Book of James 4 and 1. Let's start here.
James chapter 4 and verse 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members?
So all the things that we fight over in this world, they just come from the things that we desire in our heart of the flesh, right? Things that we shouldn't, that aren't considered godly things, right? Let's keep reading.
Verse 2. Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not.
But see, when you read this, it's saying, listen, you don't have these things because you're not asking for these things. But see, the problem is the things that you're asking for aren't aligned in what, your heart should be desiring for the sake of the Most High, right? If you can real quick, don't close that, but we'll come back to that. Go to Matthew 6 real quick. Matthew 6 and 33. Matthew 6 and 33. It's important because why? We need to know the importance of what Matthew Saint Matthew in this book, chapter, verse is saying, right? We need to know why it's important to put emphasis on this. What does this say?
Matthew 6
Matthew
and
6.
30. Matthew 6 and 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
People are not praying the right prayers because we've lost sight of how we should obtain the things that we want in this life. We think it's just going to come by prayer, right? But what did Christ say right here? He said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, right? We got to put the Lord first and seek the Lord first to obtain anything that we want in this life. But let's go back to the book of James real quick, right? Let's go back to James. Can you read verse number 1 again?
Verse number 1. James chapter 4, verse 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members?
So, along with understanding that we got to seek the kingdom of God first, a lot of times we pray in these prayers and they're coming of the lust that comes in our flesh. Why? Let's jump down to verse 3.
Can ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lusts.
Right. A lot of people are praying prayers, right? Because you want something and you want to use it for your vain glory. And the Lord is not going to give it to you for that reason. Now, that's not to say that there are people who said they prayed prayers and received that thing and think that, oh, well, this came of the Lord because I prayed, but that's not necessarily the truth for everybody, right? Not for everybody. Some people are going to pray and you're not going to receive that because, again, you're asking it for your own fleshly desires, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because I thought about myself at work today, man. And like I was telling the brothers before we got on, man, we got on kind of late because, man, while I'm supposed to be, writing down precepts, getting a lesson together, I stretch out, man, and I doze off because I was tired from laboring, man, all week long. I had a long week of labor. But I've meditated on some of the thoughts that I had during this week of labor. Each and every week I think about the things that I pray for, the things that I desire, the things that I say, and kind of reflect and meditate on how I could be better as a person. So one of the prayers I was praying today, man, it was just foolishness. I said, man, Lord, I pray you just can give me a quick break. You know what I'm saying? Lord, I pray you can, just like
Brother trying to hit big on prize picks.
Look, I said, Lord, I pray that you can put on my supervisor heart that say that, man, we don't got to worry about this, right? But I noticed something, right? I told the brothers, man, this week they had me lifting, well, specifically today, I was lifting heavy logs at work, and I was complaining about being able to do that. But then I thought about how there are people who wish they were in our position to lift things with their hands, right? To have a certain type of strength to be able to carry a certain type of load, whether that be on the job, off the job, wherever, right? It's a blessing to be able to use your body and be strong, because I'm a young man and a lot of the guys I work with are very much older than me. And I'm not talking about no couple years. I'm talking about a lot of the men I work with are almost 60. So when you even look at the foundations of setting up of the priesthood, we know that the elders from 60 and up, they pretty much was retiring. And the young men was the one who was doing the work. The same thing in today's time. Sometimes I get vexed, right, in my soul, not because I hate laborious work, but because when I'm out there laboring, I see these aged men and I'm like, dang, y'all can help me out a little bit. And that makes me go into prayer sometimes and say, man, I just pray that it's just start raining harder. I pray that this chainsaw just break. You know what I'm saying? And them not the type of prayers that we should be praying, right? Them are not the type of prayers that we need to pray in order to get through the day, right? That's why when I titled this lesson, I wasn't talking about anyone in particular but myself. Because sometimes I got to remind myself to pray the right prayers, right? Instead of asking the Lord, can you give me a break? Or can you give me an opportunity to allow me to not do this job, right? I should be praying and thanking the Lord, thank you for the strength that you gave me to complete this job. And the prayer that I should pray along with that, if I should ask for anything, is, Lord, may you increase my strength to be able to do this job without tiring, to be able to work without feeling fatigued, to be able to work and my body not feel drained, right? Pray the right prayers. Because, see, the things that I'm asking for could almost be taken as, oh, well, I'm taking my strength, I'm taking my youth, and I'm taking my ability to do so for granted. And you don't want to kind of give the Lord that impression that you're ungrateful for I guess you could say, the activity of your limbs. You don't want to give the Lord the impression that you kind of just salty about what you have to do while you're on your job. Am I froze?
Nah,
Oh, Salakia, I look froze on my screen.
nah. I will say something though. I was giving a friend some advice in her relationship with her man and stuff and her newfound family. She just had a baby, and he was telling me how she was praying to God. Why does she always have to be the bigger person in the relationship? And she was pretty much saying she felt like God was telling her it doesn't matter what anybody else does, it matters what you do. And a lot of times, man, like we're reading here when it says all these wars and fighting, uh, all of that comes from our lust. A lot of that lust comes from comparison too. A lot of times, man, we compare what other people are doing to what we are doing, and we can get sidetracked. I caught myself doing that a while back and had to get checked. You know what I'm saying? I had to get checked and say, why would so and so have all this? And I know so and so's not doing X, Y, and Z. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, right? And we all have those moments, but we can't be like who was that was praying and Christ heard him. Was it a Pharisee that was saying that, or a publican or somebody? But they was praying or whatever, and pretty much it was boasting in their works. We can't boast in our works because no amount of works that we're doing will justify us, right? Christians love using that, but it's the truth. Man, you could be picture perfect and it don't matter. The one time you do something wrong, all that picture perfect, just goes out the window, right? So it doesn't matter if somebody else is not keeping their integrity. It don't matter if somebody else is not doing their part. It don't matter if they're not doing as much as you. You just got to keep doing it, man. The scriptures say, we go over all the time, grow not weary in well doing. Grow not weary in well doing. Keep doing it, right? And that's called long suffering, which is one of the fruits of the spirit, man. We got to stay in the spirit. We got to long suffer through a lot, right? But, when things feel like they're unfair, it's probably because they are unfair, but you got to weather the storm. I yield.
Con, and that's going to take me to a point, right? Let's go to the book. Can we go to the book real quick? And we'll come back to James 4, but can we go to the book of Exodus 20? And while he's going there, the brother said, what if you praying to him because you feel like you slaving? Again, praying to the Lord, feeling like you slaving ain't wrong, but what are you praying to the Lord for? Are you praying to the Lord to stop your slaving? And if you are praying to, go ahead. What are you saying?
I said, I know that brother's slaving.
Hey, look, sometimes, man, you got to count it all joy when we go through these things in the physical, right? on our jobs, you know, in the spirit realm, at our homes, in public, wherever we are, you're going to always be faced with some type of adversity and affliction. And sometimes, man, you got to thank the Lord for it, because at the end of the day, like I said today, man, you know, I'm 26 years old. And there are some 26-year-olds that simply just can't use their body like the Lord has given me the ability to do so, right? Not to make this about me or anything, but the other day, man, my sister was in a terrible car accident. She nearly died. Um, she broke a lot of bones on the right side of her body. Well, in her hip, in her leg, she broke her femur, and she had, I think, 2 surgeries already. Not saying that to say feel pity for me or my family or anything like that. I'm saying that to say that my sister's exactly 1 year older than me, 27 years old. And when she got into that accident, it was kind of like an eye opener. Like, anything can happen at any given moment, and the Lord could take your ability to be mobile and agile away at any given second. And there's going to be days when you're in a position of being a vegetable, or you got a cast all over your body. There's going to be days where you wish you could go back to slaving, because at least you can move on your own. At least you could lift stuff up. At least you could walk. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we take little blessings like that for granted. And I'm not saying that, brother, you're taking it for granted because you're praying for slaving. I'm just saying that sometimes when we're going through hardships at work, when we feel like we're slaving, sometimes we got to sit back, thank the Lord, and rejoice, you know, because at the end of the day, you may be slaving at work, but you know, it's a blessing to be able to take care of your family, you know, to receive a paycheck, to put food on your table, clothes on your back, shoes on your feet. It's a blessing to be able to move your body. You know what I'm saying? It's a blessing to be able to sit and stand on your own and not need assistance.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
know for a fact, man, whatever situation you were in life, it could always be worse. You know, I went through a stretch where I was like, you know, a job can't get worse than this. Then the job get worse. Well, I know for a fact the job can't get worse than this. Then the job get worse. Then you go through the phase like, I'll never do that again. And then the Lord have you do it again. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, your situation can always be worse. So you gotta find the good in everything in the right now. You know what I'm saying? In the right now. You gotta look at the right now and be like, what's positive about what's going on? I know I'm tired. I know I hate what I'm, I might not like the position I'm in right now. I know I see a vision for me. I know I got a dream. Throw all that out your mind for a second and think about the good things that you have right now, like the brother Isaiah said, right? Your health. Think about being able to earn whatever you're earning. Think about being able to have the mental space that you have. You know, be thankful that God even allowed you to be able to handle this stress. You know, some people break and fold and commit suicide and give up and become homeless. You at least have the mental fortitude to at least, handle the stress. So, that's another thing too, right? But I also want to say too, man, sorry to hear about that about your sister. And that kind of reminds me of kind of myself. I was thinking kind of the same thing today because my hand is still kind of messed up from when I dropped something on it. And I think it's my ACL. I believe it's my ACL. I have to get it checked out, but it still be messing with me every now and then. And I just think back to when my hand and my knee was, fully functioning. And it's like, man, the things you take for granted, being able to open up a top without pain, or lift something or squeeze something without pain, or being able to jump and land on a stable leg, man, you take that stuff for granted, man. So it's a lot of things that you can think of in the right now that you can be positive about, because like I said, it could always be worse.
Con. And to even add on to that, man, I actually have 4 sisters, right? One of them got into a bad car accident 2 days ago, and one of them got into a bad car accident last week, you know? So oftentimes, man, I've had 2 reminders already that hit close to home about understanding, man. Sometimes things that we take for granted, man, you don't really realize how good you had it until it left. It's the same thing in life. It's the same thing, to the simplest things. Something simple as being able to stand up, something simple as being able to chew your own food, something simple as being able, what I'm saying, to control your own breathing and stuff like that. Like certain things that our body normally regulates, we take for granted. We think our body's just supposed to do that. There's people out here that lose their lives on a daily basis. There's people out here that get stripped of their blessings on a daily basis because the Lord is a just Lord and he'll reign on the just and the unjust. It doesn't matter who you are, what time of the day it is. It doesn't matter what you got going on for yourself. The Lord can take anything he wants to away from you at any given point, right? And that's why this lesson is to say, make sure that we're praying the right prayers, man, because I got to stop complaining when I'm in situations that I prayed for the Lord to put me in. I remember when I was trying to be an entrepreneur and I was just going off the strength of entrepreneurship, right? And that was my only hustle at the time. And I wasn't bringing in money for real. And my wife had to hold it down. And I said, man, I'm sick of this, man. So I prayed that the Lord give me a job where I can work willingly with my hands, and I love it. And I honestly like my job. The thing is that the labor that comes with it can be intensive sometimes. And in those moments where it gets intense, I just got to remember to remind myself to pray and give the Lord thanks for the opportunity. Because I could be at the house with my feet kicked up, chilling, not making money. Or I could be out here laboring, but for free. I've done it all, across the spectrum. Same thing like the brother says. Sometimes you work a job, you say you'll never do that again, and then you end up doing it again. Or you say it can't get worse than this, then it gets worse than that, Which brings me to the point of going back to what the brother said earlier. If you could scroll down on this page, stop at verse number, keep going. I want to say it's right there, 17. Let's read this. Exodus 20:17.
Exodus 20:17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Right. And the reason that I asked the brother to read this is because, again, comparison is the thief of joy. Brother Azrael said it best, man. Sometimes you think about what so-and-so got, and you be like, man, they ain't even keeping the simplest commandment. I'm keeping the commandments, Lord. Why they getting blessed or not? Sometimes you got to rebuke yourself, man. Get thee behind me, Satan. We got to stop pocket watching other brothers. We got to stop possession watching other brothers and sisters, man. We got to stop looking at everybody else's lives and appreciating what they got, because then we begin to depreciate what we have, right? You ain't never going to be happy unless you appreciate what's yours, right? That's what J. Cole said. You ain't never going to be happy till you love yours, And that's why we got to, right? That's why we live in a generation with a lot of depressed crash outs, because people don't appreciate what they have anymore, because everything everybody else has is displayed on the internet, and they begin to forsake the things that the Lord gave them. And now they sitting up here wishing, oh man, I wish I had that. Wish I had that. Wish I could get so-and-so job. Wish I could get do. Like, we got to be grateful for the season that the Lord got us in, I can't sit up here. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, man, just think about a card game, man. Somebody's dealing cards. It's about 4 or 5 of y'all sitting at the table, right? And once he's done dealing the cards, you pick up your cards, you look at what cards you got, kind of peek over at your neighbor, see he got 4 of a kind, right? And you kind of wishing you had imagine if you just, the whole game, you wishing you had your neighbor's cards. You're not even worried about what you got, right? It's cliche, but man, you got to play the cards that was dealt to you, right? When you in a card game, right, and you get them cards dealt to you, bro, right? No matter what cards you got, I know that for the brothers on the screen, right? I know when you get them cards, I know that this is the type of people that we are. I just know that for a fact. But you get them cards, no matter what cards is dealt to you, you still looking at your cards like there's got to be some way I can still win this game. And your mind automatically goes to strategically how you can win this game with the cards that you was dealt. And this is what we got to do in life in general, right? Instead of looking at our neighbor's card, thinking the whole game, dang, if I can only have my neighbor's hand, right? It's a type of mentality that you have. It's a solution oriented type of mindset that you have to have in life, just like in a game, right? You got dealt these cards. That's what you got. You got to deal with it and find a way to win the game, right? You got to fight. That's the type of mindset you got to have instead of always peeking over at your neighbors and what they got and how their role was easier than yours. That's why there's underdog stories of how somebody can still win a game with no cards, right? He made everybody fold and he had the worst hand out, right? It's just a mindset you got to have, and that's what the commandments kind of gear you to have to do. Because by teaching this commandment of not coveting what your neighbor has, it teaches you to trust in the Lord, no matter what is going on around you. Whatever the Lord has provided for you, whatever cards he dealt you is the cards that he dealt you. And if you have faith in him, if you trust in him, you can still win the game. But a lot of people, they get sidetracked, right? They start beating themselves down. They ask amiss, right? Instead of asking the Lord how to play their hand that they've been given, they ask for what their neighbors got. They ask for a life like what they seen on TV, what they seen on social media, instead of asking the Lord, hey, man, I'm thankful for what you've given me. Use what you've given me to win the game. And that's all we got to do. But,
Yeah, when you play spades, man, sometimes you don't get a partner that you like. And your partner might give up when they see all hope is lost. But then you might be that partner that's like, we could squeeze an extra book out of that, bruh. And you trying to squeeze an extra book out of the game, right? To at least get some points, and your partner done gave up. And now y'all, I need a new partner. You giving up on your partner. It's just like the brother said, man. You got to be able to see what you can do with the hands that you're dealt, right? You got to be able to see what you can do, because if you just give up on the hands that you're dealt, that's like telling God, yeah, I know you gave me a few talents or whatever, but I don't want them. I want that brother talent.
right.
I want that sister talent.
Be happy that you're in the game and not watching from the kids table, right? As soon as you get those cards that's dealt to you, as soon as you get a job, an opportunity that God has blessed you with, right? That's one card that's dealt to you, right? He's going around giving the card to everybody, right? As soon as you get that job, that one opportunity, you pick it up, you look at it, right? Your gears should be turning. I'm grateful. I got this. My gears are turning. How can I use this to win the game? The next card gets to you, right? My gears turning.
This would have been a good video to play that Jameis Winston interview when they were asking him, how do you feel about, throwing in this game against the Steelers, and it's supposed to be snowing and everything. And he responded with, hey, it's a beautiful day, to put on and to play football in this arena and to glorify the Lord this day. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what the odds may be. The odds may be not what you had in mind, but at the end of the day, you got the opportunity. You got the opportunity to go to work. You got the opportunity to do what you're doing. Remember the time where you was wishing you had this opportunity, like the brother Dan said, to be in the game, right? You was wishing you knew how to play, and now you know how to play. You might be losing, but at least you playing, right? You got to be able to look at that stuff, man.
You didn't have no cards. Now you got 4 of them jokers. You know what I'm saying? Put them to use. Put them to work.
Right, man. We're going to go to I want to go to 2 more precepts, right? Let's go to the book of 1 Kings chapter 3, and let's start at verse number 9. Right? I mean verse number 5, excuse me. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Yeah, start at verse number 5, man. Because the brothers made some valid points, right? So let's look at what happened when somebody actually prayed the right prayer. Let's start at 1 Kings chapter 3, and this is verse number 5. Let's start here.
1 Kings chapter 3, starting at verse 5. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give thee." And Solomon said, "Thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept him for this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in." Verse 8. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this, that thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord, and Solomon had asked this thing.
So let's stop right there real quick. Solomon didn't pray for women. He just became king over Israel because David just gave up the ghost. Solomon didn't pray for women. He didn't pray for money. He didn't pray for long life. He didn't pray for good health. He prayed and asked the Lord to help him discern good and bad, to rule this people the righteous way, the right type of prayer, right? This is what the type of prayers that we need to have, man. We don't need to pray for money, you know. We don't need to pray for good health, good estate of body. We need to pray that the Lord gives us the ability to discern these spirits, to understand his judgments, right? To be able to walk in these laws, statutes, and commandments in spirit and the truth to the best of our abilities each and every day of our lives, right? To be able to flee from sin or flee fornication, right? We need to be praying these type of prayers. We need to be thanking the Lord for the ability to put our bodies through hell and high waters to provide for our families as men. The same thing with women. Thankful for the Lord that he gave us fruitful wombs to bear children. You know, we need to be thanking the Lord the right way for these prayers and things, because at the end of the day, those are prayers that are not being asked amiss, right? Those are prayers that the Lord is pleased with. Now let's look at the Lord's response to Solomon after he prayed. Let's start at verse 11.
Verse 11. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee.
So the Lord gave Solomon what he wanted. Now let's read verse 13 because it gets interesting.
Verse 13. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor. So
Solomon didn't ask for riches nor honor, but the Lord gave it to him, right? Why? Because he didn't ask amiss. He prayed the right prayer, and the Lord granted him what he wanted and even more. Keep reading.
So that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days.
Con. Now let's read the last verse right there, 14.
And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days.
So the Lord said, I've given you the wisdom and understanding that you asked for in your heart, and I've also given you riches, right? So there's not going to be a king like you. And if you keep my commandments like your father did, I'll lengthen your life, right? The Lord did these things for Solomon because Solomon asked the Lord the right prayers. What does Matthew 6:33 say? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And that's what Solomon did. When he asked the Lord, when he prayed to the Lord, the thing that he was seeking the most was the kingdom, how to be a leader of the kingdom of Israel. And the Lord gave him what he asked for and more. So nonetheless, we got to remind ourselves each and every day of our lives to make sure that we're praying the right prayer. Let me say it again, that we're praying the right prayers. Why? Because I've tried praying the Lord, let me get it quick $25,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I've asked specifically for $25,000, but what I'm saying is I've prayed the wrong type of prayer before, you know, especially in my youth and especially in my ignorance, right? But nonetheless, through these precepts, we get understanding. And through these precepts, the Most High has given us the ability to know that when we ask amiss, it doesn't work in our favor. Because 9 times out of 10, the stuff that we asking for is coming from our own lust. The reason there's war in the earth is because people want power and control over the whole earth. Where does that come from? The lust of the flesh. If that were not so, then there would be something in the word of God to substantiate these things happening. I'm not talking about the prophecies of the end of destruction, but I'm talking about of the conquering and it's justified and it being justifiable, right? A lot of these things come from our flesh. You asking the Lord for a better paying job. I'm not saying it's wrong to ask the Lord to, you know, be able to put you in a situation to make more income. But it's also wrong to ask the Lord to give you a better paying job for vain reasons. I want a better paying job so I can look good to my peers. I want a better paying job so I can go take LaQuisha out to lunch, even though I'm married to Tina. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that we're praying the right prayers at the end of the day, man, because that's what the Lord appreciates, right? Let me get the book, and this last precept I'll call. Let me get the book of Sirach chapter 20, 43 and 30, right? Sirach 43 and 30. I was gonna go to 23 and 19 where it says, beholding all the ways of man, right? But I'll close with 43 and 30.
Sirach 43 and 30. When you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when he
Salakia. It says, for even yet he will far exceed. This is exactly what he did with Solomon. He far exceeded Solomon's prayer request. Why? Because everything that you do in life, we got to remind yourself that you're doing it for the glory of the Lord. That's why you always have to be kind of like, you got to be instant in season and out of season. You always got to be apt to teach, ready to give an answer, right? You always got to keep your head on the swivel, be prudent. You always got to be a good example, be a good hireling, be a good leader. You always got to have honest conversation and make sure that your conversation is honest and just amongst the Gentiles. Have a good report, have a good name. Why? All of this is for the glory of the Lord. Everything that you do, the type of prayers that you pray, is how you reach out to the Lord. The type of prayers that you pray, it shows what type of person you are internally. You got to understand that a lot of these things that we do in this life are not to make ourselves better, but to glorify the name of the Lord, because people are watching you. Little do you know it, right? Now, Salakia, you can finish that out.
Khan, and when ye exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough.
And you can never go far enough asking the Lord to increase your faith. You can never go far enough asking the Lord to increase your strength. You can never go far enough asking the Lord the right things. Lord, help me be a better hireling. Lord, help me be more disciplined in my walk. Lord, help me be more disciplined in my finances, right? A lot of people pray for more money, but don't have the discipline to handle what they have. That's why in Luke 10, it says, he that is faithful with the little can be faithful when he's increased. But he that is unfaithful in the little, he won't be faithful when he gets the increase. You know, we got to pray the right players. We gotta pray for discipline. We got to pray for wisdom and understanding, right? We got to pray to have a heart that can discern these things, right? But with that, man, I have no other precepts to bring forth, you know. Most High willing, the points that the brothers brought out were edifying. But before we do close, does any brother have any other point to make? Precepts to read?
I'll just say, along with that last precept that you quoted in Luke, man. Again, another little analogy, man. Video games, man. Now I'm kind of far removed from video games, but it's the same concept. As far as being faithful in little, right? When I did used to play video games, right? I remember there was video games. I'm pretty sure they're still out there today, right? Where you start off in the game, right? There's different levels you gotta get to. The first level, they might give you like a Toyota Corolla, a little revolver, you know what I'm saying? And to get to the next level, to get to a better car, 9 times out of 10, you gotta use that car that you got to complete a mission to get to that better car. You want to get uh, uh, um, a better gun or whatever, right? Better firearm. 9 times out of 10, you got to complete a mission with the firearm that has been given to you, right? You want a better job on the game. 9 times out of 10, you got to use your job and execute a mission to get to that better job. So it's the same thing, same concept, man. Um, Same concept as the Bible, same concept as the last analogy that was used with playing cards. You gotta deal with what you got, right? And a lot of people don't realize that what they got can get them where they want to go, right? But we spend too much time focusing on what we don't have instead of focusing on how can we utilize the things that's already in our life, right? And that goes not just for tangible things, that goes for information, knowledge, people that are in your lives, things like that. Sometimes we got to take a step back, examine what we want to come to fruition, and actually see how it can come to fruition with the things that are in our lives. A lot of times people don't realize that you need to create the life that you want, right? I firmly believe that everybody has something in their life to get them to the point where they can live life a little bit more stress free, a little bit more lax, and not as a slave, right? And sometimes it just takes a little bit of trial and error to understand and get to those things. But the most important part, which I believe this video was great for, is not asking amiss, right? And that just goes down to seeking the kingdom first, taking care of priorities, taking care of home first, and then all those things should be added unto you, right? When you take care of the things that really matter, right? When you ask the Most High, instead of asking for money, why don't you ask Him to work smarter and not harder? Show him a way. Show me a way that I can work smarter and not harder, right? Show me a way where I can, put the least amount of effort in to this earthly job and the more amount of effort in to praising you, right? And 9 times out of 10, he honors those type of requests, and he puts you in positions to where it's not super taxing on you, and you can give more time to him. Now, the caveat is this: when he does put you in that position, don't forget to spend that extra time that you have on him, because a lot of people can do that. I myself have done that from time to time, right? And a lot of times, the Most High, he'll check you, right? He'll send wrenches within your life and be like, "Hey, remember what you asked for? I gave it to you. Now don't do me dirty." You know what I'm saying? And so I just leave you with that. Because
Looks like the brother Azrael got a rush in the spirit.
Oh man, I'll go here real quick. This is the book of Job, man. When Job got touched, he would start feeling bad for himself and started doing comparisons with, I do this and why does this happen to me? And his friends was kind of giving him some advice because this could happen to any one of us. We could be up one day or we could have what we think we want, and then we can get tried by the Lord and we can be questioning God or why we're in the position we're in, or why don't I have what they have, or it can get that way. So I'm gonna read this advice that Job got from one of his friends. Job chapter 4 and verse 3. Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Meaning, like when you up, you got all the advice in the world for everybody. You know, you encouraging people, you telling them it's not that bad, bro. Just look, just keep enduring. You telling brothers and sisters that when you're up, right? Verse 4 says, thy words have upholden him that was falling, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. Meaning somebody that was about to tap out, somebody that was about to give up, somebody that was about to end it all. You helped them keep pushing through their circumstance. Right? Verse 5 says, but now it is come upon thee, and thou faintest. It touches thee, and thou art troubled. Right? So it's a reminder to Job, like, hey, you got to take your own advice, right? A lot of times, man, we feel bad for ourselves, or we get down in the dumps because of our situation, and we know, you know, when somebody else asks us for advice, we got all the advice in the world to give them. Sometimes we got to take our own advice. Sometimes the Lord already gave us what we know to be true. We just have a problem of listening to our own intuition that the Lord gave us, listening to our own discernment that the Lord gave us. And sometimes we got to take a step back and say, man, if this was somebody else, what advice would I give them? And then you got to take your own advice, right? But that's
Right.
all I can say.
Hey man, just like that precept in Sirach says, 37, I think 19. It says, hold on, Shalakia. But it says, for there is one that is wise and teacheth many, yet is unprofitable unto himself. I think that's 37 to 19. But yeah, you can't be that person that Sirach is talking about. Instructing the many, the masses, and strengthening the weak hands. But yet, when you get touched, now all hell is breaking loose. You don't know what to do. You don't know which way to turn, right? You got to be the kind of person that's kind of even keel, has poise in every situation, you know? Poise in every situation, you know? You got to be the type of person that, hey, when work seeming like it's getting tough and you feel like you slaving or you feel like you lifting a lot and you're doing too much and this, that, and the third, you got to count it all joy, man. You got to thank the Lord for putting you in this position. You got to be you got to be the type of person that the owners of that company want to rely on. And listen to what I'm saying. We all know that we work for a lot of people don't work for themselves in this side of life, right? A lot of people don't work for themselves in this land. A lot of people work for other companies, Fortune 500, startups, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But treat every job opportunity like it's your own business. Because think about if you were a business owner and you had employees, and there was employees who every time they started doing a lot at work, they just kind of started like slacking off. And as a business owner, you realize, hey, that kind of hurts your profit a little bit, right? So you just got to remind yourself always to be the type of person that's a good hireling. Always be the type of person that, regardless of what's going on at work, you'll get it done. Why? Because just like the brother Dan says on the screen, hey, it all pays the same, you know? It's a part of the job. And if there's a job to be done, hey, thank the Lord that he chose you to be the one to get it done, right? But with that, like we say, man, don't ask amiss, pray the right prayers, and keep the commandments, right? Shabbat Shalom. Most High willing, this lesson was edifying. These are brothers from the Hopeful Elect. Lord willing, we'll be on here tomorrow. Not sure about the time, but whatever brother of the Spirit hops on tomorrow, we'll be on here ready. But Shabbat Shalom, my praise to the Most High. And until next time, family.